Welcome to the bold analysis. The Orange Democratic Movement ODM party today called a press briefing at the Orange House, and it's turning out to be very desperate, and they made a very desperate, tired, old statement. The party that some years back boasted of national acumen, it is very sad that it is reducing itself to, for lack of a better description, a village cattle dip baraza. And probably that does not even serve it the best explanation. And I want you to look at this presser here. The new ODM chairperson, Gladys Wanga, Rosa Buyu, Osotsi, the deputy party leader, he took over the position from Paranya, who joined government, and Wajir women rep, and the other party administrative officials. And that statement here, one person is missing in that photo, and that is Edwin Sifuna. The Nairobi senator is the secretary general of the party, and in many instances, he's the one who speaks, he's the mouthpiece of the party, and is the person that normally speaks what the party intends to say. But you realize, since the broad-based arrangement between Ruto and Raila was formed, Sifuna disappeared from the screens and is no longer taking up the position to defend the party or even speak on matters of the party. And I think I would not blame Sifuna for this. I remember the day the talks had started that Mbadi was heading to cabinet, Sifuna went and first shielded, said there was no such position, and that those who will join in their own volition. In fact, he said that there was no one from ODM who was going to join, only for it the next day to be announced. After ODM distancing itself from that story, Mbadi rushed to Rusinga and made a statement crashing both Sifuna and Orengo. Now, some corridors were saying that the letter that Sifuna wrote did not sit well with the fellows that call themselves founder members of the party. But even away from that, if there is something that has defeated, and many people, young leaders like Sifuna, have shied away from talking about, is that broad-based thing between Ruto and Raila. This press briefing, I would want you to hear this. After Kalonzo emerged, and Kalonzo Musyoka asked Raila Odinga a simple question: how can you oversight government that you are working for? That was the question. ODM, in a crisis, at least they should put their best act together and be consistent in what they are telling Kenyans. Such a very big party cannot afford to flip-flop with such a sensitive matter. Over the weekend, my member of parliament, Sam Atandi, said this in Siaya.
The first thing is that you have to support him. If you want one day to bring development here, you have to support him. But if you don't support him, he will not bring any development. That is the first thing. The second thing which I want to say now in English is that the government is only bad if you are not part of it. If you are outside, you don't have anybody who is representing your interest in that government does not talk to you, that government is bad. But the moment that government has your people inside, the way Mbadi is inside, and Raymond Omolo and my brother Pio and I, the government cannot be bad. The government now is good. Now the government is good. That is the message. Because I watch my right.
So on one end, Ruto government is good because they are there. Sam Atandi is a member of the party, just the same as these fellows, just the same as the Wanga. And they said They will no longer criticize government because all of a sudden they have baptized William Ruto as legitimate and good because they were not there. That is what they said in Siaya. Today, the national chairperson Wanga is holding a press briefing and still taking that tired line of we are still going to oversight government. We are going to play our oversight role.
Let us make a few things clear. As a party, we will not agree to engage with anyone acting in bad faith and with ulterior motives. On the matter at hand, the questioning of ODM and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga's commitment to opposition, our partners are not acting in good faith. They're hiding behind the 4 gentlemen and 1 lady who joined government and using it to try and wrestle the leadership of the Houses of Parliament from ODM. We find that unacceptable, and we wish to reiterate the obvious. The House leadership is about numbers in the House and not those in government. As we speak, ODM has the highest numbers of MPs professing and committed to Azimio ideals and principles. Majority of the MPs from a number of other coalition parties long went to bed with the Kenya Kwanza in Parliament. This has to be about the sacrifices made. Thus far, ODM has borne the highest brunt in terms of casualties, people killed, maimed or wounded while expressing opposition to the Kenya Kwanza policies. Demonstrations have not begun this year or last year. ODM and protests are synonymous. We have borne that cross over decades and suffered heavy casualties all the time, never apportioning any blame. Our members have been forthright and honorable enough to declare that they are joining the government. The 5 have been honorable enough to relinquish their party positions instead of clinging to opposition leadership while serving in the government at the same time. The party leader has been forthright enough to explain that the 5 have joined in their individual capacities to do national duty and not as representatives of party. That is ODM. We act transparently, honorably, and accountably. Finally, as a party, we will not accept any continued attempt to use Raila Odinga as a human shield and any continued attempt to twist him into endorsing anybody at this stage or any continued attempt to use him as an excuse for the failure of leadership in individual constituent parties of Azimio. And we will not accept the use of Raila Odinga's bid for the African Union Commission chairmanship to be used to pass ill-intentioned remarks disguised as well wishes and to twist him on Azimio matters. Raila has earned his candidacy for the AU chairmanship. We are proud that he is the leader of our ODM party and our coalition, Azimio. We are grateful to the government for standing with him, and we are grateful to the many African leaders who are considering him for this position.
And so, this statement, over the weekend, Sifuna was not in Siaya with Wandai. Sifuna was not in Siaya. And you can tell me, there have been public forums that ODM party have been doing. They have even been doing rallies. There was even a rally in Homa Bay talking about how they are defending that broad-based. But that gentleman, Sifuna, Babu Owino, and some team, they have not been going in public to defend that broad-based. But I dare ask this question. How flip-flopping, how hypocritical can ODM party be if they are talking about oversight and aquaculture project at Kabonyo Kanyagwal in Kisumu, a project that Ruto launched in October last year, is actually a volleyball pitch with no contractor on site. I checked this video, and if you're not angry, then this is what would make you angry.
Previously on the Vampire Diaries.
Welcome again to another episode of the Vampire Diaries. I'm here in Kisumu County. This is Nyando constituency, and this is Kabonyo Kanyagwal ward. And we just want to check on the project that the President William Ruto launched here for Kabonyo Kanyagwal Fisheries and Aquaculture Project. So come with me, let's check it out. So as you can see here, this is our main gate. This is the main gate. We have our contractors here. The contractors are building. Those are our aquaculture researchers over there preparing to do some research on fingerlings from Lake Victoria. That is our Nile Perch. That's our Nile Perch lab. That's where we do research on Nile Perch and tilapia. So here we have the administration block, and here we have the finance office. This project was costing 2.5 billion Kenya shillings. Kazi safi hii sana. Asante sana mtukufu rais. So this looks like a graveside. Inakaa kaburi. There's one very sad thing about this project. This 2.5 billion Kenya shillings for this project was coming from the government of Hungary, from the Exim Bank of Hungary. Now, the worst part about it is that it's not aid. Si ati tulisaidiwa, is a loan, which we will repay. Now, on top of the conditions of that loan, is that the company that is supposed to do this project is supposed to be a company from Hungary. That was the negotiation between the government of Kenya and the government of Hungary and the Bank of Hungary, that the contractor mwenye afa kujenga hii must be from Hungary. So the question I want to ask is this: the people who negotiate our loans from our government, how do you allow us to have a loan which we will pay, then you specify that a company from Hungary must be the one to build? Is it that Kenyan contractors are lacking that can build this? Shida tupu. Shida na tabu.
This is the opposition that Wanga and the team are telling the country that we will oversight. I agree with those who are saying that for the last 25 years, that, the thing now last 20 years, that ODM has been doing their politics. They've never been doing opposition. In fact, it was just auctions. Maybe let me not be too harsh on them, maybe. Jeremiah Kiuni once said that at least if you make a decision, you should live with it. You should live with that decision. ODM made a choice, and Raila Odinga, that they are going to join government. All this meandering of there is no coalition agreement, or rather there is no, there is no structured agreement between Ruto and Raila, is just some English, it is some English used to hoodwink the masses. But this is it. ODM party has relinquished its role of the oversight. And maybe they have not been doing it. So, Sifuna, who is the Secretary General of the party, and amongst the young battalion of ODM, are distancing themselves from such shroudy press briefings. And in fact, what Wanga was reading there is not even those are just emotional connotations put up together so that you want to act, you want to react to what Kalonzo is saying. And I really concur with what Kina Kalonzo are asking. What they're asking is, how can you are not in opposition. Parliamentary positions are supposed to ask government, supposed to oversight. But you're not. You've joined. The same reasons why Sabina Chege was being chased from Azimio. In fact, she was even de-whipped because of such political arrangements. But I want to delve more into that, and I want to ask, and I want to say why specifically Edwin Sifuna is having some social distance with the broad-based government. Because what ODM party has been doing for the last 1 week is to market, I don't know, to show support. And I saw Bruce Hamad in Homa Bay, defending broad-based in Homa Bay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what they have been doing is what some people are not boarding. I saw Babu in Nairobi on Saturday with Team Ground holding their parallel press briefing and putting Ruto to task to answer questions. So why is Sifuna keeping the distance? Number one thing, I think the young leaders in ODM are feeling the pressure of the Gen Z, and they run the risk of suffering some betrayal tag by the Gen Z, especially from the urban center. If we are seeking a political seat in Nairobi, and you expect, one thing you should expect is that the turnout in Nairobi is going to be high because of the level of political participation. This was the epicenter of the Kenyan politics. And number two, the young people are also looking up to you. What do you stand for? What do you think about it? And what about you? So the Sifunas are seeing in Nairobi, even if you want to defend that Senate seat or even want to seek governorship, you have to listen to what the Gen Z are saying. And there is no secret that the political elites converged in some common ground because they had a common threat known as the young people. So it's not, and if you check Sifuna's Twitter, he's been facing some backlash from his followers. He has 1.1 million followers in Twitter. He's been facing backlash when he's being called names because of aligning the broad-based. The other thing I'm seeing here, the decision to pick Osotsi as deputy party leader was a well-choreographed strategy to checkmate Sifuna. Between the deputy party leader and the secretary general, who is more powerful? Of course, in terms of responsibility, the secretary general is the core of the party. But the deputy party leader, in terms of hierarchy of ranks, the deputy party leader is a position that is a bit a higher rank to that of the secretary general. So the deputy party leader was Oparanya. And then you had Sifuna from Bungoma. If you look at the caliber of Oparanya, it was more senior, of course. So he will easily accommodate and work with Sifuna. Osotsi is a deputy party leader, and I don't understand why the deputy party leader would make a press. I did not see Joho or Oparanya reading statements on behalf of ODM. What they only used to do, they will stand behind Raila Odinga, and many times they would actually talk under Azimio. But because Osotsi is also eyeing governorship in Vihiga, and they know that ANC has been consumed by UDA in Vihiga, they were strategic about UDA. But I am not seeing a good relationship between Sifuna and Osotsi moving forward. Number three, the dishonesty in Ruto deal is indefendable. I don't know how to put that point. That's what I've wrote in my notes. It is dishonesty because someone knows very well that this is negotiated democracy between them, and there is some give and take. Support my AU bid, I support you, we get into government, I get that tender, I get that deal, we do this. It is a very well negotiated deal. So you might come out blindly to support because you're supporting a party position, but in real sense, you're just supporting interests that you're not even a beneficiary. I want to ask this again. What is making it difficult for ODM to accept that we've joined government? And they can now start getting reasons. Say, we've joined government. I've seen them saying, we've joined government because we've been in opposition for long. So we also now want to eat, we also want to get into government. Our people have died in the past, so we've been protesting. Raila is going to AU, so we want Raila to get support. They have so many reasons that they can use to defend them joining government. Why must they change and still just hold that position that, you know what, we've not joined? Those who've been picked have been picked in the individual capacity. While, when Wandai was in Siaya, in Ugunja, doing his homecoming party, he was with the whole ODM battalion. If ODM think that these people are in the individual capacity, then the party should not be associating with them in that manner likely to suggest they are together. You know? So dishonesty in that deal is actually something that even if you want to defend, you can't defend because you don't know. In the letter of secrecy in it, then the other day, Raila is going to Eldoret and saying, Ruto called me to talk to Uhuru called me to talk to Ruto. So who knows what? How many things have Raila not said? So even if you want to defend, you will still need to get some good notes on what to defend. And lastly, Raila Odinga is making a political exit from the scene. And people now have to take alternative paths. By the way, I'm seeing some leaders from Nyanza clinging on that quote. Probably the last time you might hang on that quote is 2027. God, Mungu apatie mzee nguvu. And even that quote is nowadays inakuwa kubwa. That quote is not like 2007 and 2017 and 2013. The convincing power, it has been reused and used until people now used to it. So I'm also seeing a possibility that Raila is making a political exit, and we really hope that he gets that job. So that we see the Nyanza battalion that are just taking issues at their hand, how they're going to maneuver their ways. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. Why do you think Sifunas are not in the picture in supporting the broad-based thing?